I think we're just 12 weeks into the institutional adoption phase, and every day we watch, money flows into the spot Bitcoin ETFs, and you see 50 million, 100 million, 200 million. You can see it's starting to simmer, and I think that will cause people's wheels to turn, and they'll start to think about what's the next thing. And I mean, this is how markets work, right? Like markets very confused with 27 different ideas, and then all of a sudden one idea works. Remember like search engines? And there was a bunch, and then there was Google.
Exactly.
Remember how about mobile phones? There was a bunch, and then there was Apple. I think markets work like that, and then something starts to work, and that gets bigger, and it catches on, and it catches fire, and then people start to copy it, and then it becomes something.
MicroStrategy founder, former CEO, and executive chairman Michael Saylor asserts that we are entering a new and progressive era for Bitcoin, the world's leading cryptocurrency by market cap. Saylor points to the approval of several spot Bitcoin exchange-traded funds by the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission in January as a game changer, marking a significant shift in the regulatory landscape for the cryptocurrency. The SEC's green light was a crucial step in dispelling misconceptions about Bitcoin, such as it being a magic internet money or a money laundering scheme. The interest of major Wall Street players like Fidelity and BlackRock further cements Bitcoin's position, indicating that it's not a passing trend, but a long-term investment opportunity. So far, the success of the spot Bitcoin ETFs is a huge testament to all of these facts and what's to come for the leading crypto asset in the coming months and years. According to Saylor, the approval of the spot Bitcoin ETFs opened the cryptocurrency industry to thousands of financial advisors and institutional investors who are, as we speak, determining how best to get involved. Saylor believes we are now in the Bitcoin gold rush era, which he expects to last at least another decade. During this decade, Saylor predicts that many companies will adopt the Bitcoin standard, just like MicroStrategy did in August 2020, a decision which in itself marked a new era for Bitcoin. We will bring you clips from Saylor's latest video with Digitracom. Please watch to the end, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications for more videos like this. You can also drop your comments and observations in the comment section below. Everything you do helps with the YouTube algorithm and immensely contributes to the channel's growth. Thanks, and enjoy the video.
I think in time they will. I think in the years between 2025 and 2028 or 2029, you'll start to see companies starting to adopt this strategy because it gives you a very low cost of capital, and because Bitcoin is a good asset, and because there's a lot of demand, etc. But we were unique because we had a need. We were in the right place at the right time. And as I said, we didn't really have the plan in the middle of 2020. The plan presented itself. It's hard for anybody else to look at this because 18 months ago, Bitcoin was 16,000 and everybody thought the crypto economy was going to zero. So it's only really been in the past 6 months. You could even argue 12 weeks. It's really January when the SEC approved the spot ETF that the mainstream consensus in the world was Bitcoin is an asset. It's not going away. I used to say, if it's not going to zero, it's going to 1 million. But there are a lot of people thinking, oh, it's too good to be true. The government will take away from you. It'll be banned. And I think turning the corner was really essential. And the turning of the corner is when people realize it's not a cryptocurrency, it's a digital property. And if it's a digital property, it's a store of value. And I'm going to buy it as a store of value or buy it through the ETF and hold it a long time. And when the SEC approved 10 Bitcoin ETFs, mainstream Wall Street consensus shifted to, okay, it's going to be around. And then opened up an avalanche of enthusiasm. And that kicked us into this Bitcoin gold rush era. For the next 10 years, every quarter, there'll be more enthusiasm, more adoption, more awareness. But it's like year one of Bitcoin as an institutional asset. Companies will do this, but it's hard for them to move that fast. normally if something is new for the last 3 years and you're in the 4th year, you're an early adopter. So that's how fast corporations move. So I think it does happen, but I think that we're still very close to the crypto winter. So many bankruptcies, so many meltdowns. We need to get a little bit of distance from that and stabilize. And at that point, more conservative companies will start to move into the space. There's still a lot of regulatory uncertainty. I mean, it wasn't clear what's going to happen with every single crypto application or use case everywhere in the world for the past 24 months. So there's a lot of people have been waiting for certain shoes to drop or for certain decisions to be made. I think that what you could say in the middle of 2024 is it's pretty clear in the U.S. capital markets that the regulators have embraced Bitcoin as a commodity, a digital commodity, and the investors have embraced Bitcoin as a digital property or store of value investment. And those two things there's broad consensus on. And if you're building something based on those two insights, you can build a very, very big business, right? Like MicroStrategy's gone from 600 million enterprise value to 35 billion. You can build something big, but those two insights, they weren't clear 2 years ago. Yeah. I couldn't have said, 10 companies on Wall Street will all agree on that 2 years ago, and the SEC will let you sell that. I think we're just 12 weeks into the institutional adoption phase, and every day we watch, money flows into the spot Bitcoin ETFs, and you see 50 million, 100 million, 200 million. You can see it's starting to simmer, and I think that will cause people's wheels to turn, and they'll start to think about what's the next thing. I think we're still early, and that's a good thing, right? Because what that means is there's an opportunity for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Okay. You don't want everybody to agree. You want everybody to be confused about things so you can act.
Whether critics like Jamie Dimon and Warren Buffett like it or not, Bitcoin is becoming the hottest thing, the Google and Apple of digital properties, without the often many limitations of physical commodities like gold, grains, oil, etc. For example, no commodity has Bitcoin's limited supply cap. If gold prices go much higher today, miners will be able to afford to mine even more gold, which will ultimately increase supply and reduce prices. Experts estimate that there are around 20 million tons of gold in our oceans. Currently, 1 ton of gold is worth over $74 million. Though it is unexpected that all of these tons of gold will be mined, significantly higher prices will motivate miners to work a lot harder to get more gold. The same applies to every other commodity except Bitcoin. Even things with a more fixed supply, like real estate and scarce art pieces, have limitations that do not apply to Bitcoin. Let's get back to Saylor's interview as he speaks further about the role of Bitcoin in our quickly evolving digital world.
Bitcoin is better described as a city in cyberspace. If you imagine a city that's 276 blocks high, 276 blocks wide, 276 blocks deep, that would be about 21 million. And it's a network, a shared network that people all around the world voluntarily enter into. And you can buy one of those blocks and you can take custody of that block and you can keep it for 100 years and you can give it to your children's children's children. So if you think of it as digital property or the greatest city in cyberspace, when you move into Manhattan and you tell all your friends to move in Manhattan and they all move to Manhattan because Manhattan's the greatest city in the US and the price of land in Manhattan goes up, that's not a Ponzi scheme.
Yeah, exactly.
That's an example of a place where everybody wants to live because it's the best city to live in North America. And people have been moving to Manhattan for 400 years. And the price of real estate in Manhattan has been going up for 400 years. Imagine a city in cyberspace where 8 billion people want to live. And, they don't live physically, but they live economically. Everybody in the world has a problem. And the problem is they would like to store their capital and preserve their capital. And they'd like for someone not to steal it, right? So they all need this bank in cyberspace where they can store their life savings and know that it will hold its economic value. If If God came down from heaven and offered to set up a bank with 21 million coins and keep the money in heaven and let you telepathically zap it back and forth and make sure no one cheated anybody and do that for the next million years, that would be a better bank than any bank we have, and it would be a better currency than we have. But, God's not going to do that. And so the next best thing is if you create a bank based upon cryptography, based upon computer science, and you give a copy of that software to everybody in the world that wants to use it, and then everybody voluntarily buys and sells those units we call Bitcoin and holds them if they wish to hold them. And anybody that tries to cheat the system gets kicked off the network. So Bitcoin is better thought of as a protocol, a fair, equitable protocol for people to trade economic value or store economic value. And it happens that the more people that use the protocol, the more valuable it becomes. Not so different than English, the language. The more people speak English and the more money the people that speak English have, the more useful it is for you to learn English. And like New York City, the more people that move to New York City with more money doing more things, the more valuable your real estate is in New York City. So it's basically a network. It's the world's greatest monetary network, a digital monetary network. And what's special about it is it's open, permissionless. Nobody owns it. No country controls it. No company controls it. No individual controls it. It is the result of an experiment where the 50 predecessors all failed and thousands of copies failed. And it's the winner in this Darwinian market economy for money. And what you have is a network where hundreds of millions of smart people with money have entrusted hundreds of billions, now $1 trillion or more of money to the network because it's a much more efficient way to do things. It's just the world's first scientifically rational engineering protocol for economics, for economic cooperation,
Yes.
or for monetary interchange. And that's something everybody needs. Nobody can stop, but most people don't understand. And the reason that it makes sense to spend 100 hours studying it right now, and the reason it makes sense to buy Bitcoin is all of my best investment ideas are things nobody could stop, everybody needs, and nobody understands.
The world's quickly evolving, moving strategically from the physical world to the digital. It's only normal that our financial system also goes through this transition. This is what Bitcoin critics like Diamond fail to realize. Or maybe they do, but are too stuck in the old ways. But the old ways are dying, which is quite fortunate for the everyday investor, who, for decades, was constantly fleeced off by the traditional finance industry. We are entering a new digital era that was essentially kick-started with the creation of Bitcoin about 15 years ago. Bitcoin is here to stay, and absolutely nothing can change that. What are your thoughts on Saylor's interview and his predictions of a 10-year gold rush era for Bitcoin? Please share your thoughts and comments in the comments section below. Also, ensure you smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications for more videos like this. Thanks for watching.